be more than human.
Carol, and today I am doing a video that was suggested to me from Ursi at Circe's Booked, another great booktuber, and she wanted to know if I could do a deep dive on my book More Than a Vampire. Now, I've done a few um, spoiler-filled interviews with Steve Talks Books and Philip Chase and a few other places as well. So I was thinking about doing something a little bit different and doing kind of a non-spoiler um, review or kind of overview of my universe as a whole because I'm writing a dark fantasy shared universe. Now, the first book, More Than a Vampire, takes place in 1639. And one thing it sets up is that it actually explains to you how vampires came to be and their history and how they're set up in four different cabals from around the world. And Simon, who is the protagonist, belongs to the Ecne vampire cabal. In 1639, he is a part of a sect called the Nigrum Gladio, which translates to Black Sword. And what they are in charge of doing is going around and quickly dealing with rogue vampires um, that make too much noise, become too obvious. Because in this universe, everything is real, from vampires, werewolves, all the gods from all the pantheons are all real. And for different reasons, they don't like it to be out in the open that they're real. You know, you have some that live off of humans. Vampires live off their blood. Others eat humans. Others use them for worship. Um, so nobody wants to tip the balance or to give the humans a reason to coalesce and go after them. Now, um, throughout this um, first book, it is kind of setting up to show you kind of the new world and how the vampire world is kind of being turned on its head, where um, different the areas that they control, because this is the age of discovery with North and South America. So it becomes kind of this mad dash for different control of different areas for each cabal. And within this first book, you get to meet each of the leaders, but you really it focuses mainly on the Ecne Vampire Cabal, which at the beginning of this controls Europe, and the Mont Cabal, which controls Africa at the beginning. And so things kind of get spread around. Um, but the way I am working all these books is I have 6 to 7 books planned out already. And I'm going to be doing kind of character development books, but also that opens up a little pocket of the world. And then I'll do another small book, maybe in a different time frame, but within the same world, and that'll open up a different section. You'll get to see different areas and aspects, and you'll get to meet different, legendary characters and maybe a lot of little known gods and stuff. I'm going to be putting in throughout all my stories instead of just doing one massive or a handful of massive books. I'm giving you first person perspectives, and you're going to get to kind of meet these, heroes. Some of them are more anti heroes, but it's a dark fantasy universe, so I'm not going to really censor too many things, but I also don't write gratuitous gore for the fact of making gore and shock value. Everything I do has a purpose to it. And through these books, the second book is already written and it'll be coming out at the end of the month, maybe the first week of May, and it's called More Than a Gunslinger, and it takes place in 1869, kind of the Wild West, and it draws heavily on the tall tales and American folklore. The protagonist there, her name is Izzy, and she is the best sharpshooter in the world. And she's tracking down this robber baron that is gobbling up all the railroads. And when she was uh, 10 years old, her dad brought her family over from England, and he was a railroad engineer. And this robber baron came to their house one night and basically made her father an offer he couldn't refuse. And so she's never forgotten or forgiven him for pulling her father out of the passion of his life, which was building railroads. So she's chasing him down now. Now, you don't have to have read the first book to understand this book, but there will be Easter eggs and maybe some cameos in the second book, and that's what my series is going to be all about. Um, a lot of these characters are long lived or immortal, so you may see them cross over or just make little cameos here and there. But I do want to do a lot of books that may be standalones. These characters some of these characters may not get a second or a trilogy. Maybe they just get a one book and then they become kind of a side character for other people. But also, there, we may do some form of, big crossovers with, major characters because I want to set this universe up kind of like Marvel and DC, where I want to make people not just be like, oh, well, what's your favorite book inside the universe or what's your favorite book of the series? I want mine to be who's your favorite character? Kind of like it's always, oh, who's your favorite X-Men or who's your favorite Avenger? Um, and my writing style, people have said that it's similar to Jim Butcher's, who's a big influence of mine, as well as Andrei Sapkowski in The Witcher. Those are probably my two biggest influences. Um, and so if you're, wanting kind of a, you know, Witcher style book, More Than a Vampire will be just for you. And if you're looking for something different, like a Western fantasy mix with a female protagonist, then More Than a Gunslinger might be up your alley. But we're going to have all kinds of cool and interesting characters, and I'm going to bring into light a lot of mythology that is kind of not on people's radar. Um, and I, just can't wait to get more of these books out to you. Now, if if you want to know more about my writing, my universe, comment below, and I'll answer all your questions. And if you have any suggestions of videos that you would like, I do, I've done top five favorite books series. If you have, um, any videos like that you'd like to see. I'm not against doing that, as well as, I'm a big movie buff, so there will probably be some movie videos on here. Just like, subscribe, and post your comment or your suggestion below. And if I do a video based off your suggestion, I will shout